Good afternoon, guys. I'm John Soto. This is SotoCast. Today, I wanted to talk to you about. It's obviously been very big in the news right now. We have the Nick Shirley video that just dropped, pointing out the massive amount of fraud going on currently in Minnesota. And I just wanted to break down some numbers and give some perspective on the fact that this highlighted something massive. But yet it's still, obviously we all know, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's not even a flake of snow off of that iceberg. And yet we still should be insanely outraged by it. So I just did some analysis with the numbers that I've found, just broken them down. So for people that just understand the perspective, Shirley, he actually physically went there and showed, about $100 million, tens of millions of dollars in places that, were supposed to be child care centers or like fraudulent businesses, things of that nature. But if you look at the government and their inquiry to the Minnesota issue, so those programs, there are 14 government programs that are being targeted, are being looked at in this Minnesota issue. Of those 14 programs, since 2018, they have been given about $18 billion. Of that $18 billion, they're essentially showing that $9 billion has been up in smoke and gone up into, we don't know if it's fraud, abuse, choose wherever it's just unaccounted for. It's not there. It should be there. It's not there. They can't find it. So over the course of the past 7 to 8 years, you're looking at essentially half of the $18 billion eaten up in fraud. Now, when you extrapolate from that, so those 14 programs nationwide, because obviously this is just Minnesota, they go to all 50 states. These are childcare. These are, home health aid services. These are services that are supposed to be provided. If you have a live-in health aid, if you have somebody with dementia, somebody has to be taken care of, childcare services, all of those types of things, that's what the umbrella is under for these 14 particular programs. Nationwide, you're looking at around 80 to 90 billion dollars annually. So since in that same time period, 2018, looking at around 700 billion dollars over that time period. So if you extrapolate this, and let's say let's just take what we know as of right now. As of right now, we know that half of the money given to Minnesota essentially was eaten up by fraud, waste, fraud, and abuse, however you want to call it. So if you take that out to that 700 billion, you're talking about now $350 billion over the course of 7 to 8 years. So nationwide, let's say 90 billion, so about $45 billion annually in just these 14 programs. Then you take it a step further. Then you say, okay, well, how many federal government programs are there? These are all questions that you just ask these questions. Once you figure out one thing, you're like, all right, and then that leads to another. So government programs on average, you're looking at around, it kind of fluctuates year over year, looking at around 360 total government programs. Now, some of these programs we all know very well: Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, those types of things. We all kind of are familiar with those, but there's 360. There's going to be quite a few that no one has ever heard of before. So when you understand that, and then you understand that of that amount, you're looking at around $1.2 trillion annually for these federal programs. $1.2 trillion annually for federal entitlement programs. I don't want to say that half of that is going to fraud. Probably is. We probably don't need most of it. At least I'm going to say that. We probably don't need most of it. So then if you take that, and then let's say you throw on top of that something that I like to do, like government spending for defense, the DOD, or the Department of War, whatever the hell you want to call it now. Who gives a shit what the hell it's called? So famously, I don't know if you're familiar, but just the day before September 11th, Cheney goes up there and essentially says, we're missing $1 trillion, just so you know. So if you, obviously, everyone famously says the Pentagon has never passed an audit. That is also true. And essentially, when you start digging down into the weeds on this thing, you can come up with a number of basically about half a trillion, so around $500 billion of money that defense just eaten up by the ether. So if you want to, I have no problem with focusing in on Minnesota. I'm happy that we're focusing on Minnesota. I just want us to make sure that we're having a broader based conversation. Minnesota should be the canary in the coal mine that we should all have known about forever. We all have, like the people that have been screaming this forever. We've all known about this. We know this is going on. I don't understand how it's a partisan issue to say that we don't want to throw money down the drain. We don't, like, I always thought progressives that, they don't want, like, this money is not going to poor people. And this is the thing where I think we're kind of talking past each other, because progressives are saying that we're being mean because we're not giving these people money. And we're saying two things. One, if they don't deserve the money, then why should they get it? But secondarily, the majority of people getting this money are probably pretty damn wealthy. And they're getting wealthy off the backs of like middle class people where this money is just being dumped into like a meat grinder. And a lot of wealthy people are getting the benefits on the other end. So we have 1.2 trillion in total time and spending. We have $500 billion in DOD just waste. You pull that up together, you're looking at around just under $5,000 per person per year. Family of four is looking at $20,000. What do you think a family of four could do with $20,000 a year? Do you think they're getting their money's worth? Do you feel like you're getting your money's worth when it comes to all the money that the government is spending in your name, in your favor, to benefit you supposedly and your family and your kind and all these people? You think you're getting your money's worth? You think you're getting your $5,000 a year worth? I would say a lot of people would probably say not. I would say a lot of people that are getting the benefits, they would just say, you know what? I'll take the cash instead. Just give me the cash. I'll figure it out on my own. So I've asked several different chatbots and done a little bit of analysis on like it's kind of hard to get these numbers officially, but I was just trying to get to the point of the question. The root of the question is, what would be the total amount that an individual, if he basically gamed the system and hit all the right buttons and fill out all the right forms, what would be the total amount that somebody could take from the system? And I got a number roughly around between, I keep getting anywhere between $60,000 and $70,000 a year is what a person, if they were to like, SSI, Social Security, Section 8, WIC, SNAP, everything you got. If a person was able to completely game the system and max everything out, you look at between 60 and 70 grand a year that the person would essentially be receiving in benefits. Now, here's the caveat to that. When you dig into the weeds, you start to realize that, okay, but how much cash in hand is that 60 to 70 grand? How much physical money would that person be getting? And you come around roughly around $1,000 a month. So out of that $60,000 to $70,000 a year, they're only getting about $1,000 a month. I mean, still a lot of money. Still a lot of money. But if you were to go, you like, so essentially that 70 grand is just siphoned away. That 70 grand is, from the things I was reading, it goes going to healthcare, going to housing assistance, going to food assistance, going to transportation. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of these, when you're getting health benefits and you don't have the means to get to a doctor's appointment or to get here or to get there, then there's federal programs to deal with transportation on top of that. So it is just we're being bled completely dry. We're being bled dry. And I really hope that the middle class we have to be furious right now. We have to be completely furious. I really hope this Minnesota thing doesn't just stop there. It's not just about Minnesota. It's not just about the Somalians. This is a nationwide just capture. Like we've been captured. I mean, it is infuriating when you see how much of your tax dollars go towards the federal government and they just piss it all away. It has to be infuriating to people. And again, the progressives are looking at it from a side where we're trying to help people, not realizing they're not helping anybody. They're hurting people. That money going into the system is not going to poor people. It is going to companies, corporations, businesses that have learned how to game the system and capture this free money that's being thrown out there. So again, if you look at it, like if you canceled out everything, I mean, a family of 4 receiving 20 grand a year, I'm not for UBI. That's not a thing that I think is a good idea. One of the main reasons why I'm not for UBI is what people don't understand when it comes to universal basic income is the system will almost automatically adjust itself to the money being put into the system. Let me explain. For those of you that are for universal basic income and you believe it would allow a baseline of existence, subsistence, whatever you want to call it, I'll just point something out, and people say it's a result of greed. No, it's a result of just money being put in the system. If everyone gets paid a basic income of $2 grand a month, everyone gets paid $2 grand a month basic income, and I'm a landlord, and I know I was renting out my property for $500 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever it is, and I know everyone gets paid $2 grand a month. I'm renting out a 2-bedroom, which means what? Which means there's probably going to be at least 2 people living there. They're each going to get $2 grand a month. So what am I going to do with my rents now? You guys, people just have to understand that you cannot just artificially dump something in. That's what we've been doing now. That's why inflation is where it is, because money is being dumped into the system. Inflation is a very easy thing to understand. If you have a Michael Jordan rookie card and it's one of a kind, it's going to be worth X. If all of a sudden somebody finds a box of those cards and there is now 1,000 of them in the market, it's going to be worth a lot less than it was previously because there's a lot of them in the market. Cash works the same way. When you influx massive amounts of cash into a system, that's how you get inflation. That's the only way you can get inflation. The only way you can get inflation is by printing inflation. You're creating the cash, making it worth less than it was before because there's more of it. It's supply and demand. Just to get to my final point, I just really hope that Nick Shirley's doing a fantastic job. I hope this spawns, I said in one of my shorts, I hope this spawns 1,000 more Nick Shirleys. I really hope this is what we needed. We needed somebody to go absolutely viral in this space where he's just exposing truth. That's all we want. I don't care if my side is right or your side is right or anything. I just want truth. I just want honesty. I want to know what the hell's going on, and let's try to fix it. I don't know how we can stem and eliminate the partisanship that's going on in this idea, being called racist, being called phobic, whatever. No, if there's fraud, let's just find the fraud. I don't care who's doing the fraud. I don't care what you look like. If it's fraud and Americans are on the hook for it, let's root it out. Let's find it. Let's expose it. Why can't we all just be on that page? I think that, we've all kind of been, mind controlled into just being left versus right, right versus left. That's why I don't even like saying that any one side is evil or good or whatever. I think that, typically speaking, I do think progressives are, I think they've been brainwashed in the sense that, like, we've all been brainwashed, right? That's. I just think their brainwashing is more dangerous because I think it fosters things that are just very unhealthy for society and people in general. They could say the same about me and my views, and that's fine, but you would have to show me the evidence that proves your point. I can show you the evidence that proves my point, right? Obviously, gender transitioning with children. I'm pretty sure I'm going to bear out right a couple years down the road. But yeah, guys, if we can all just do one thing, like we need many more Nick Shirleys out there. We need many more people to be outraged. We need this stuff to be completely exposed. And if just think about those numbers that I told you in the end. You're talking about just entitlement program over $1 trillion annually. If you add the DOD fraud on top of that, you're talking about $1.5 trillion. If we could give a family of four $20,000 annually to help them out, just eliminate all these freaking programs. Yes, are you going to have people that are going through growing pains? Absolutely. Absolutely. But in the end, the question is, what is a government's role? What is a government's job? If you go from the Milton Friedman perspective, Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, protect national defense. Obviously, you have to have some type of currency and courts to mediate disputes between people. That is it. That is my personal view. I think everything else should be relatively privatized. And I think we would be better off in the end. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you guys for all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. We're growing. Let me know if you like this format that I'm changing up a little bit. I'm doing a little bit less of the reactionary stuff and just trying to put my own thoughts out there into the ether. If you want to follow me on X, 6283 Talk on the X. I am John Soto, guys. Thank you so much. See you again in the next video. Take care.